Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Babylon 5 Retrospective. This week on the show, we're talking about Season 3, Episode 9, Point of No Return. This is the titular episode of the season. That's what the season's named after. But before we do any of that stuff, before we get into the show, it's a good one. We're getting to the good parts of the show. Season 3 is, known to be the best, and we're building up to some pretty important stuff. But before we do that, I have to introduce my co-host. He's the man who's always against Night Watch. It's Cam. Say hello,
Cam. Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Jeanette says hi. Don't let your husband know you said hi to Cam. You might be jealous. Cam, do we have any administrative stuff to go over before we get started here?
Other than my mysterious computer issues, no. I think that was the cause of the delay. Yeah. I've thrown my other one in the trash and shifted to a new computer. So
you fixed it with your tools, probably, right?
You could say that.
Okay, we've got 11 people watching. That's good. Excellent. Let me just say hi to everybody, and then we're going to bring in our co-hosts, guest and co-panelists. Q2 Cast is in the chat. Good to see you. Umbras, good to see you. You missed it. Missed a couple of notifications. YouTube is, it's a pain in the butt. We do the show every time. We're pretty good. We haven't missed a week in over a year, so pretty much you can write us in your calendars. Yeah, it's YouTube, though. Don't ask me why. Who else? Dave is here, of course, sending greetings from the Narn delegation, as he usually does. Okay. D.O., is that Dean? That's you. Isn't that you? Or is that your wife on there? I think. Who else is in the chat? That's it. I think. Did I miss anyone? Inverse Opinion. Good to see you. And Jeanette is here, of course. Good to see you, Jeanette. And anyone else might be hiding, but that's okay. You can, if you want to be a lurker down below, that's no problem. You're free to lurk. All right, let's bring in our regular co-panelist, Death Angel Shadow, and of course, Dean, who is our guest panelist today. Classing up the place a little bit from the across the pond. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Good to see you, Snob.
It's only 4 a.m. there, right?
Yeah, it is. But we couldn't sleep. We're so busy. It gives us something to do, and I wouldn't miss this show for the world.
That's awesome.
Just like a certain captain in this episode, he can't sleep, stays up waiting for his.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Let's jump in and get right to it, because I think people on the show are here to hear us talk about the show and not me here to blather on about other stuff. So let Cam do the quick opening, and then I'll get into the details, and I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible so we can get to the meat of the show. We got a little bit of extras today. We're going to show a little bit of a interview portion. You'll see when and why. All right, go ahead, Cam.
Okay, here we are. Season 3, Episode 9, Episode 53 overall. Point of No Return, the titular episode of the season. Written by J. Michael Straczynski. Originally aired February 26th, 1996. And Episode 309 in production order, so right in line. When President Clark dissolves Earth's Senate and declares martial law throughout the Earth Alliance, the command crew must find a way to stop Night Watch from taking over Babylon 5. Londo receives a prophecy from Emperor Turhan's widow when she visits the station.
All right. So the episode starts off. Londo and Veer are talking. They're going over Veer's reports. And, of course, Londo is talking about how to change the reports to make them sound more better for the back of the royalty and the government back, and basically lie. Londo gets a call, and he's told that the Emperor's third wife will come. The old Emperor's third wife is going to come for a visit, and he's been working on it for a long time. He's pretty happy about that. He goes outside and he sees everybody. He goes outside his quarters and everyone's running around acting crazy. And he goes, "What's up?" and they say, haven't you heard? Martial law has been declared on Earth, which is which was the ending of the last episode. We heard about that. Meanwhile, the command staff is they talk to the the command staff is in a in their little command area, not in the CNC, but like in it's shared his office. They're all watching a video, and there's a general on there, and he's talking to them, saying, "Hey, he's basically giving us a little bit of information about what's been going on. The Senate has been dissolved. Half of them are on the run. It's basically civil war." And he tells Sheridan, "You are on your own." And then it's cut to the intro. When we come back, we see Sheridan, Ivanova, and Garibaldi talking about what the situation is. That Earth is apparently looking for General Haig, who is their their contact, and we should keep an eye out for him in case he shows up here, because we're going to have to deal with that. It might be bad for them. Might be bad for Babylon 5 if he does show up. They're going to look a little guilty. So we're trying to find out where he is. Meanwhile, the Night Watch, the head guy of the Night Watch, tells Zach, "Hey, we got to come to this meeting. Don't tell anybody about it, and bring extra clips for your gun," basically. And he's like, "Oh, what's up?"
That's Mr. A. Rian, right? That's his name.
I don't even. Night Watch guy. And then Jakar, Garibaldi goes into Jakar and says, "Hey, you've been released. It's 3 weeks early. I don't have time to watch you. Off you go." And he's like, "Okay." And he says, "Hey, I might have something for you later." Okay, so basically we've got that's the sort of the intro. We've got two main things going on. Well, three. The main thing is the Night Watch and the Civil War stuff. The lady Morella arriving on the scene talking to Londo, and there's a little bit with Jakar and Talon, his bodyguard. So I'm going to go through the Lady Morella stuff real quick, and then I'll do the Night Watch, and I think the Jakar stuff I'll just feed into the Night Watch as well. So Lady Morella arrives. She's a prophetess. She has been lured here by Londo, telling her just to, "Hey, come to the station and we'll give you a tour." But what he really wants is he wants to know if she can tell him if he can avoid his fate. She confronts him on this. She touches Londo and sees a vision of him as emperor, and he looks a little bit older as well. She eventually she says, "Hey, I'll give you a reading before I leave." And when she does, she tells him that you have missed you've have 3 more opportunities to avoid your fate. You've missed 2 so far. And she goes into some detail, which we'll talk about what those things are. Londo says, "I don't understand," of course. She also tells Veer that he will be emperor too. But the other one will only be emperor when the other one's dead. And the Veer and Londo kind of end up the end of the episode looking at each other. Veer's like, "Hey, I made you some food," and Londo's like, "I don't know if I want it. I'm not really that hungry." "You're not afraid that I did something to your food?" He goes, No, but I'm gonna order out anyway. So there's maybe a little bit of tension there. But anyway, back to the Night Watch and the Earth Civil War. We've got another general. I think it's General Smiths. I'm not sure if that's his name.
Yeah,
but he has a discussion with the command staff, with Sheridan and with Garibaldi there, and he speaks kind of strangely. Like, it's kind of strange the way he talks. Seems a little bit unusual. But we'll find out we'll talk about that. He says, "Make sure you respect the chain of command and bury your personal opinion." But then he tells Garibaldi and Sheridan that the Night Watch is now in control of local security. Of course, Garibaldi is shocked and can't believe it. We then cut to the Night Watch, and they talk about the leader of the Night Watch we've seen before talks about, "Finally, we're in charge, and we're going to be setting things right," unquote. The general also, when he's talking to Sheridan, makes sure to mention that this might be an opportunity somehow. How we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Jakar has gotten out of prison. He goes to his quarters, and Talon is waiting there, and it's been waiting for a while, maybe weeks. Jakar gives a little speech to Talon, saying, "Hey, he's come to some other purpose, and he's ready to do what his purpose is." We come back to some scenes with the Night Watch. They're basically telling everybody who hasn't been on the Night Watch before to put on the armband. Some are refusing, but it looks like most of them. We see most of them taking it, but we're unsure. Some are refusing for sure, though. The next thing we know, the captain finally gets the order to declare martial law on Babylon 5, not just Earth. It's come to Babylon 5. He declares martial law and reads out the statement to all the station. Meanwhile, there is a riot going on in place. The Night Watch are trying to break people up. They're watching the news and they're cheering for General Haig fighting various ships, and he appears to be winning or at least damaging the other ships. And the Night Watch comes in, hey, break it up, and a riot ensues. It's a pretty good riot scene. And Lady Morella happens to be out in the station and kind of gets caught in that as well. But she escapes no problem. Meanwhile, we go to Sheridan and Franklin. He realizes, I missed the spot here. Garibaldi, just before that, Garibaldi goes to confront the Night Watch. There's a great speech, and we can talk about that. We'll talk about that in detail. And but doesn't seem to get anywhere, and he ends up just leaving, where he doesn't seem to convince them to leave the Night Watch and forget about that stuff and just go back to regular security. Meanwhile, Franklin goes to Sheridan and says, "Hey, it must be tough what you had to do doing this whole martial law thing." And Sheridan then quickly comes to a realization that the General Smith, who was talking to him, was leaving him some clues in his speech. Meanwhile, Jakar goes into the CNC. Hey, Ivanov asks, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "I got something for you." Next thing we see is the command staff in Zach's quarters. He goes into his quarters and he sees them all there. And the scene cuts. Meanwhile, Jakar is meeting with a bunch of Narns, and he's telling them, "Hey, it's time for us to do something." What? We don't know. But we have found out that the Narns are coming aboard the station at 0300, and they're going to take over all the security things. This is what Zach tells the head Night Watch guy. And the Night Watch gets themselves all ammoed up and all the arms, and they get ready to take these Narns out. And we see Sheridan wake up close to at 2:30. Going to the area of this cargo bay. We find out it's all been a trap. Sheridan captures all the Night Watch stuck in a cargo bay, and he's going to use the Narns as security instead. And meanwhile, all the Night Watch guys have to turn in their weapons and their ID badges and everything, and they're basically confined to quarters because they didn't follow the chain of command. And so that's pretty much the end of the episode. A couple things at the end. Jakar tells Sheridan that he wants in. Doesn't say what he goes, "I know you're up to something. I want in." And Sheridan says, "I'll talk to the others about it." So he basically agrees that, hey, we've been up to something. And meanwhile, the last scene is Ivanova and Sheridan talking. Apparently, General Haig is losing the battle. He's running. Sheridan says, "They're coming for us next." And I believe Ivanova says, "I never thought it would end like this." And that's the end of the episode. Cam.
Yes. Okay. So, obviously we have the main storyline here is the Night Watch / martial law storyline, which segues into the subplot with Jakar. And then we have the B plot, which is Londo and Lady Morella. Let's see. Do you guys? What do you think? Do you want to talk about the Londo storyline first, and maybe because I mean it's related and it crosses over a little bit, but it's kind of standalone. And then get to the main one second.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. We got Dean and Death Angel Shadow. You guys want to shoot for it? Who goes?
Dean, go ahead. You go first. You're the guest.
Okay. It's nice to see Lord Rigo again. On the other side, helping Londo arrange all of this. And Lady Morella, I like Lady Morella. She's no nonsense, down the line, and she's very quick to tell Londo this was not her husband's vision. You know what the Centauri Republic did, and that he wanted peace with the Narn. But this whole sort of B plot starts again with poor Veer having his whole report being ripped apart and put back together, of which I think my favorite sort of manipulation is dubious pleasures. It means nothing, but it worries people. And intelligence has nothing to do with politics. And I think that's a nice little jab at politicians. I think, but this whole storyline, it shows Londo is got a bit of a conscience. He's really trying to take amends. We've already seen him break ties with Morden. He's really trying to avoid his fate. And he wants to know now whether he has an opportunity to do so. So he arranges all of this right at the time that the Earth Alliance decides that they're going to have martial law and all of this going on.
Impeccable timing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's even when Lady Morella arrives and there's no one from EarthGov there to greet her, an important dignitary. And he's trying to sort of, oh no, it's nothing. Veer comes in. They've just got a bit of a they're
the door's
distracted.
over here. The door's over here. She's like, yes, I know.
Yeah,
I'm going this way.
I know. Oh god, it's. I think as a B plot, it does kind of intertwine. But I think Londo feels, for me at least, he seemed to be a little bit out of his depth with this, in that he seemed to be a little bit unsure, as though he was taking a big leap of faith, trying to arrange all of this. And it's not until she turns around to him and says, "Why have you got me here, Londo? What's your reason for bringing me to Babylon 5?
What's your real reason?"
Yeah, what's your real reason? And I think that whole B plot, so I guess we're going to talk about the fight in the Zocalo.
yeah. Who really started that fight? Because it looks to me like Nightwatch kind of started it.
I think Nightwatch did, but I was counting all the different people involved, and there were Minbari fighting, there were Narn fighting.
Yeah,
it was all over the place. There was Centauri in there.
Yeah, I think they even broke a TV.
They did. They did. Zach, looking very, very unsure, stood obviously at the side, away from all the action, and then dodging a chair that gets thrown at her.
And Veer took a bottle to the head.
Yeah, poor Veer. Yeah.
There was some good symbolism in that. Zach standing by the television, the captain reading his his martial law declaration, and then a TV coming out and hitting that screen. I thought that was well done. I'm like, wow, they're really, they're putting a little thought into some of these, the scenes there.
They absolutely did, and I love the way that, and this goes to the great storytelling we got in season 3, the way they've intertwined both A and B plot within one scene. And you got what's going on CNN. You got the Alexander, and I think it's brilliant, showing that whole fight scene, the Alexander fighting against the other cruisers, Haig's ship. And what was it? It was the Excalibur and the Schwarzkopf got hit and taken out of action so that they could escape. And it's one of the, if I got a nitpick here, it's again the rules of when hyperspace engines can be used or not. And I guess what they were waiting for is the other ships to be disabled so they could safely open a jump point and go through. But hey, Haig's escaped. Brilliant. So hopefully we might see him in the future. But that whole fight, I was looking for it. No spinning kicks this time. I didn't catch any spinning kicks.
Come on.
Oh,
we
but
need it.
okay, but that's true. But I wrote down here the stunt guys. They're pretty good fighters because the one guy does a jumping forward, jumping side kick, or forward kick. Like they got some guys who know their martial arts, and they're more than happy to use them on the show. So I guess everyone in the future takes taekwondo or karate or something.
Absolutely. Sorry, Cam.
No, go ahead.
All I was going to say is I really liked the chaotic nature of that fight. I think they showed tight camera angles, stuff like that. They showed a real chaotic, everybody just kind of attacking everybody else, and I really like that.
Well, I was going to comment on that because you mentioned about there's Minbari fighting, and like when Londo ran and came out of his quarters, it was Minbari that was saying that kind of uncharacteristically. So so I agree that I liked it, but I think the reason I liked it is because it represented the chaos of a riot, not really having any particular purpose and just being like panic, right? It portrayed that very well, even though, if you wanted to nitpick it, you could say, well, why would Minbari be engaged in this fight? In this, Centauri and Narn, they're prone to fighting each other. And you could see that the Night Watch guys and responding to the Earth people, or the humans cheering a rebellion, you could see why that would go. But it didn't matter because it was an effective scene, I think, to portray what happens when a government breaks down, which is what we're watching in kind of slow motion here. And it should be scary and chaotic. And I like that, again, Lady Morella just gets caught in the middle of this. She has nothing to do with it, really. But she's in danger, and Veer actually gets injured.
Veer protected her. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was that scene was good. And as Snob mentioned, Sheridan being kind of in the background, obviously remote to the situation, giving this dictate from Clark unwillingly. I thought it just came together very nicely.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of storytelling. So, of course, keeping with the B plot, Lady Morella, Veer kind of milking it, but being patched up by Lady Morella. And that moment, she, the Londo's hand and her hand touch, and she sees that vision. And I'm assuming they only showed the one thing, him on the throne, but I'm assuming she probably had all of that
at that one time. Yeah.
And then
another cloth, please.
Yes, another cloth.
Yes, Londo, another cloth, please.
And then, of course, I think, we can skip probably to the prophecy where she talks to Londo and Veer in a way, talking about the 3 opportunities Londo has before him. And this is great for those of you who haven't watched this. Really do look out for these
I do
opportunities.
have them written down.
Yeah. So you must save the eye that does not see.
Yes, that's
you
the
must
first.
not kill the one who is already dead.
That's the second one.
And at the last, you must surrender yourself to your greatest fear, knowing it will destroy you.
Yeah, and that is his final redemption opportunity. So that's his last chance. That's the last exit. If he doesn't take that,
And she mentioned, I'm sorry if you say he already missed the 2, like you said, but she didn't mention specifically what those were.
No.
She know which
didn't
ones
say.
they
I
were?
think.
Can we figure out which ones they were?
I would have thought answering Morden would have been the first.
Yeah.
As in refusing to give Morden a reason why. What
do you
wanted.
Want? What do you want? Yeah.
And I, if I had to guess, I'd say the second one was what he said in response to what the Emperor said to him as he was dying.
Yeah. I think
that one would be a good one. Also, the actual putting in the order for the shadow to attack the Narn homeworld.
Yeah, possibly.
Or initially the shadow attack on the Narn outpost that started the whole thing.
But that could have been that could have been one of his opportunities, because if he had never done that, But
yeah, I kind of tend to go with, I think, what Cam and Dean said, but I just mentioned those other two because they're possibilities. I'm not 100% sure, but those ones seem a little stronger.
Dean, you said you liked how Morella was portrayed, and I did too, because you could tell it's like she could probably figure out that Londo is really not on her dead husband's side, right? It's like he's been in the forefront of all this, but she's not. It's like she's kind of above it, or she's smart enough to know that she can't necessarily affect what's going on, but I don't know. It was a very mature approach she had, that it was very aware of the reality of the situation, even though it's, she expressed her disagreement with what was going on.
I found it interesting that she spoke as a plural, we, and there was a little bit of explanation about that, about being when the emperor dies, she basically takes on the embodiment of the emperor who had passed. Did he use the term regent? I can't quite remember what the specific term was that they used, but it was definitely like some sort of royal type term, effectively. And so this was, and I'm sure it was done for the audience, for us to understand, because you would think that Veer would know this, being that he's Centauri.
Yeah.
But at any rate, maybe he's just not as well schooled in diplomatic type things. So
it might be something that's kept only at the highest levels, that most normal Centauri, even the ones that are of higher caste, might not know about it, or because it's kind of a very personal thing with the emperor, and how they treat, like, the majority of Centauri don't, even the various houses probably don't have anything to do with the emperor. They're not important enough. It's only the very high houses. So that, that could be it.
The most powerful ones.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think we end up with what I think is a nice scene to finish the episode, or almost finish the episode on, with the two of them either side on the couch. And,
I made your favorite spoo.
I'm not hungry. I'll eat out.
Don't you have somewhere to be? No, not really.
No.
Tomorrow.
He's like, Veer, Londo's trying to get rid of him, and Veer's like, "Nah, I think I want to stay, and because maybe we should discuss this. I'm curious if you're going to say something about what happened. Are we going to talk about this or not?" And Londo's basically like, "No, we're not going to talk about it."
The only thing that maybe would have made that scene better is if Londo fixed Veer a drink. That would have been, "Oh, hey, Veer, I made your favorite drink for you."
I'm not thirsty, but you never refuse this drink.
You love this. It's your favorite. Yeah. No.
I also did like Dean. You mentioned that Londo's a bit introspective here. He was he pretty much put his cards on the table. He was just like, I don't know where this is going. It's like, since whatever this great future, and I don't know if it's good or bad. He was not holding anything back with her, which of course would be wise if he wants to get an honest assessment from her. But that's what I love about Londo as a character. It's like we see these different sides, and sometimes he's just blatantly honest, with about himself. He is able to self-evaluate to a high degree.
And the actor really, Peter really plays that vulnerability with Londo well.
He does.
And it is throughout the episode. It's the uncertainty. He fumbles about his words sometimes. He doesn't come up with a quick excuse for why EarthGov weren't there to meet Lady Morella. It's small
Veer does.
things here and there. Yeah, Veer does. Yeah,
distracted.
Yes.
And that's another good point, because again, Earth is the host of Babylon 5, of course, and it's just like, I mean, think about that. If you're on a diplomatic mission in a country that is falling apart around you, I mean, that's kind of what's going on here. It's like, that's pretty precarious. That could go bad real quick. because
Yeah.
you know, like when the attack on the Narn homeworld came, Londo was had guards provided by Garibaldi.
Yeah.
And well, it's like, well, that's gone now. And as we saw with Jakar, that they just don't have the resources. Like, they're all the aliens are kind of hanging out there at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
very much on the edge of complete chaos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was more than Centauri and Narns on the station that you could see in the Zocalo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they went all out with some of that stuff. But I you know you could kind of tell that the Night Watch was kind of starting stuff, but I did think that Veer doing his self-sacrifice and trying to protect her, because Veer is an honorable guy, as opposed to Londo, who might be more looking out for himself first. But yeah, Madman's got it right there about he doesn't know whether to embrace it or to flee his future.
I disagree. I think Londo is in the sense that Londo is also a very honorable guy, but his problem is he's been disillusioned by his years of service. He's no longer, he maybe started out as, Veer, and now years later, he's, the way he is.
He's become hardened, bittered, maybe
Jaded, yeah.
jaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can
and
relate. I mean, me too.
I think Jeanette makes a good point here, which is neither one of them are emperor. So neither one of them can die at this stage, because one of them has to become emperor before the other one can,
Well, which
I-
is an
I don't think
interesting
that's
point.
No,
No,
I don't think that's true. It just said that one of them has to be dead before the other one becomes emperor.
No,
No,
they're
no,
both.
no,
They're
she
both
said
going to
both
become
of them
emperor.
would
Oh,
become-
that's true.
yeah.
Both of them have to be emperors.
So
I guess
so
one has
they
to.
I
that's
think
it.
they
Okay.
I think Londo and Veer glossed over that part because Londo's like, well, we can't both be emperor, and she says, well, that's true. One of you must die before the other becomes emperor. But I think maybe instinctively their characters ran off with that, going,
Yeah. You always focus on the bad news, don't you? You got
Yeah.
this good news.
Yeah, the good
You're
news is
both going to
both of
be
you guys-
emperor.
Yay!
But one of you will die before the. Oh.
Well, and presumably the way it's portrayed, I think actor-wise they're not, but Veer would be the younger one, so logically you would think it would be Londo would be emperor, and then maybe Veer would rise to emperor status after that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
Logically, they
wait
should
and
all
see.
be going rock climbing and paragliding and summiting Mount Everest and all that stuff, because neither one of them can die, right? As long as one's
Plot
not
armor.
the emperor.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention is I liked how the episode started out with Londo, and we got the announcement about the martial law at the end of last episode, and then you had this Londo scene, and then it's like, didn't you hear martial law? So it was a nice bridge. I like the way that they did that between the two episodes,
Yeah.
And the situation with Earth. Okay, anything else on the Londo thing? We can get back to it, of course, at the wrap up, but ready to move to the next topic?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, before we do, let's show the let's show the interview with Peter talking about working with Major Barrett. All right.
Very good.
Okay, let's do that.
yeah.
Okay.
One of our regular guest panelists, Outpost Nerd, had a question. He said Babylon 5 had some amazing guest stars, and one major, I mean, you guys had a ton of them. One of the major guest stars was Majel Barrett Roddenberry. What was it like playing opposite to one of the first ladies of science fiction and some of the other guest stars in the show?
That's Point of No Return, which is the episode they're looking at, I think. Now, but anyway, it was really. Am I wrong about that? Maybe. I think it is. You can ask Al. But anyway, it was a little intimidating. That's all I can say. I mean, you have to have. First of all, she's older than I am. She was a woman, so I had great respect for her just on that note. The usual dirty jokes between Veer and I were not going around that day. But the Roddenberry name meant something to me, and it means something to anybody. And she also was a person, I had mentioned this about Andreas. She was quite serious about the work.
Yeah.
She didn't take the work. It wasn't a lighthearted set like as I said, Viet and I used to be. Stephen and I used to screw around a lot and had a great time on the set. I tried generally to do that, but I was a little intimidated by her. You can't go anywhere in science fiction without running into Gene Roddenberry or what's his name from the Twilight Zone, Serling.
Rod Serling, yeah.
Rod Serling. These people, they're icons for a reason. In terms of television, they're pretty iconic. So,
Yeah.
I was serious about it. I don't know that I did it as well as I could have in those scenes, but I was a little intimidated. What can I say? It was nice to work with her, and I wanted to be respectful. The stupid kind of jokes that go between Star Trek and Babylon 5 and the other shows are just that. They're stupid arguments. Each show is so singularly its own. You can't really compare it to talk about apples and oranges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the same at all. But I did have respect for her and for the last name. So
Yeah.
it was a little intimidating. What can I say?
Yeah. I bet. I bet it would be.
I mean, the few times I met Shatner and Nimoy's son directed, but Leonard Nimoy was really you kind of shake your head and say, okay, I know who you guys are.
Yeah.
I know where you really stand in terms of television sci-fi.
The hierarchy of the
Yeah, exactly.
blue bloods, if you will. Yeah. That was great.
All right. Yeah. And, if you haven't seen the interview, that's just one portion of one of the viewers' questions. There's 2 hours of that. You can go and check it out on this channel, on Death Angel Shadows channel. It's on Q2 Cast's channel and also on Sci-Fi for Me TV. All right. Cam, turn it back to you.
Okay. Well, let's get into the main storyline here, which is the martial law and Night Watch takeover, I guess I'd call it. So it from the whole thing about the announcement to Londo that there's martial law, we then learn quickly that Clark has taken the additional step of dissolving the Senate. So it's not just like, we have a situation we're dealing with, so we need martial law. It's like we're dissolving the legitimately elected government. It's like they just jumped with both feet into authoritarian.
That was a big. That's like, really, you're investigating the people that are, or you're dissolving the people that are investigating you.
Right.
Huh.
Right.
That certainly looks good and not at all dictatorial.
Yeah, and that's, and so I'm trying to remember the first scene. Maybe I should let someone else take this, but the scene where they were talking to the one guy, not General Smith's, the first guy they were talking to, and he was the one telling them about the Senate and how they were holed up and everything, and then there's an explosion in the background and he pulls out his sidearm. It's like, oh my God, this is the level we're at right now. I mean, they're literally fighting for their lives.
Yeah. Well, that statement he made at the end of his transmission
about Haig.
He passed a message from Haig, and the last thing Haig basically said was, "You're on your own."
Yeah, everything's gone to hell, John. God help us all. You're on your own. Yeah,
right. And I mean, again, one of the reasons I love this episode is it's just that, I mean, me as a viewer, I'm sitting here, it's like, the sinking feeling just comes through so effectively. I don't know if you guys agree, but it was, and it's just like one step after another. It's like when is this train wreck going to stop? Kind of thing. And I mean, real world. Not to get deep into this or anything, but I remember, when 9/11 happened, and the first plane hits and the second plane hits, and I remember I was driving to work, I think, and I was like, when is this going to stop? It's like that's just this gaping maw of uncertainty in front of you, and it's like, what do you even do at this point? Because and back to this, sorry, I didn't want to get into that too heavy, but like Haig was their leader essentially of this counter, this resistance movement, and now he's got his legs knocked out from under him, and he's on the run. It's like you have nothing to fall back on now. No network, no nothing. You're on your own completely.
Yeah. Well, they said 4 out of, and we find this out towards the end, but 4 out of 5 of these ships have fallen, right?
Yeah.
Leaving
Once
just the Alexander that Haig is on. So
yeah, and it's like the hope. I mean, Franklin even mentions this later. It's like, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I realize, but it's like, oh, if we could just buy time, maybe this will blow over. It's like this attempt by Clark. Will it be stopped? And it's just like every bit of news they get says no. So
it reminds you of how these things can happen, because often people who are involved in this, especially in real life, the first thought going through their head is this can't be happening. Or order will be restored. Things will sort themselves out. And a belief that there is a higher authority still in control that will somehow sort it out and bring the people who are breaking the law or doing the wrong things to justice. But when the people who are doing that are the people who also control justice, you don't want to believe it's happening. You want to
it's normalcy bias
that, this won't happen. This world, it'll pass over. It'll be fine. We're going to come through this. And when you don't, and that's masterfully done in this episode, you feel you're on that precipice. You feel, how are they going to get out of this? There's no way. This is it. That they're done. Night Watch are going to take control, and that's it. Yeah.
And another piece of it was, as they were going back and forth, it was like, they realized that the communication channels were cut off. It's like and Night Watch is watching all those communications too. It's like we can't even try to coordinate anything. It's the isolation, and it's just I don't know. Snob, what do you think? You got any comments on this? You're in the middle of a revolution right now, right?
No, you guys are. I'm not living in Iran. What are you talking about? No, you guys are. I mean, you're right. It's very well done. The whole, the whole action of you're on this call and like, let me just. Oh, I gotta go. They're at my door. End transmission, pulling out his weapon. That guy. I don't think that guy made it. He's at least he's in jail, if not, But it's really well done. How they've done it, and everything seems to have fallen apart all of a sudden. And we're talking about the end. Haig does escape, but in the middle part of the episode with the riot, we're seeing that they're getting some pushback, and they're hitting some cruisers, and the people are cheering. But then by the end of the episode, Haig has lost, like you said, 4 of only his ship is left, and the other 4 have been, destroyed or disabled or something. They're no longer in the fight, so he's now alone. He was able to pull 4 other ships, and now he's down to himself. So it doesn't look good for, the good guys.
Yeah. Well, he said 9 systems are on alert for General Haig.
Yeah.
So.
And the one other thing they mentioned was the elite guard were attacking the Senate building and everything. It's like, I don't know that we heard a mention of that, but clearly, a paramilitary force outside of the military under Clark's direct control has enough power to be making these moves. Maybe it's civilian police essentially, or at least with police duties versus the military. But
did you catch the other point where at one point one of the newsreaders a little bit later in the episode says, soon after, it says, they're calling on people to surround the Senate and protect the senators with their bodies and stuff like that. Basically make
human
make
shield.
government
It was
shoot.
the head of the Russian consortium, I think, was request, asking people to form a human chain around the Senate. Yeah.
So the Russians are not in with this martial law thing. That's for sure. That's one.
That was a little interesting too. Well, about that he did make that move on the Senate, because I would have no reason to believe that a lot of the senators might not be corrupt and in on it too. You know what I mean? Based on things we've seen before, with the senators dealing with Night Watch, or not Night Watch. Night Watch, but also Psychor and Morton. But maybe they're already, they got their bread buttered, and they, are in the new order, whatever that might be. And the ones left on the outside.
Yeah, I think that indicates, Cam, that, while there are a number of them who are involved, perhaps not a majority. He doesn't have everybody. Only maybe the important ones or certain ones. I mean, the more people you bring in a conspiracy, the more likely it's going to be, exposed. So there's there's that.
Isn't it a 15% rule? You have to get at least 15% in order to be able to influence others.
No, it's 27%.
Is it 27%?
So the moment you have 27% support, you can effectively put whatever government you want in place. And this was going back to Germany before Hitler took control. Only 27% of people registered were with the Nazi Party, but that was enough for them to effectively take control of Germany.
Right.
And it's used as a study as how small an influence you actually need to gain complete and utter control of a country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same kind of thing that our heroes here are experiencing. It's that kind of normalcy. But it's like, well, what do you even? I mean, let's say you are opposed to it. Well, they're organized. You're not. They can take you out at will.
You're surprised, and they've been planning this for months.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. They also have control of the media and stuff like that. I think what's very clever about this episode is it shows one thing. No matter how civilized we are, there's one rule, which is whoever's got the biggest guns controls the world. Mm-hmm. And the Senate's probably there going, well, we got laws and stuff, and Clark's going, well, I've got an elite guard. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. That's like what reminds us of Rifa. Words on a page.
It's just ink on a page. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's and I think this is masterfully done, and it's a good mirror to how most authoritarian governments take control. And there's places in the world today where, for example, leaders of a country are deeply unpopular, and yet they remain in power because the media isn't holding them to check, and anybody who protests against them is painted as being a subversive against the state.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think this is. I agree with all that, but this is also further interesting in that Sheridan kind of uses the whole thing about who's got the bigger stick, and not even necessarily the bigger stick, who's got the stick in the right place to use it at the right time. And you're caught out of position with your stick. He uses that against the Night Watch later on to affect control himself. So it's kind of both of the the big picture and also the small picture is going on.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Night Watch. So I call him Vaughn. That's the actor's name. The Night Watch. Right. The Night Watch leader here, who is explicitly shown that so Garibaldi comes, and does his thing, and causes a stink and doesn't get very far, but we find out, confirmed, that Zach is the second in command in the chain of the security forces, and he's put in charge kind of strangely. That the Night Watch goon is kind of happy with his own Night Watch position and doesn't try to take Garibaldi's position. He's happy having Zach be there, or maybe he doesn't feel that he, that's worth doing, addressing at the moment. But I think he plays it very well, because I mean, you could see him barely able to restrain his glee, at the thought of arresting Sheridan and all this stuff, And again, Sheridan, I don't know that they have any particular reason to even suspect Sheridan, so it seems like a pure power trip kind of thing.
Other than being friends with Egg.
Yeah, they have a slight thing then, that he disappeared for 4 days and nobody knows where he was.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just a strange occurrence, though. It's not like Sheridan has come out publicly against anything,
No,
but that's enough for
that's enough for them.
These
for
power
sure.
mad
and they
lunatics.
can't wait to use it, but
right,
it is very slim. No, hold on, Cam. You didn't want to talk about Garibaldi's speech at all? I thought.
Feel free.
I think this is it was a great opportunity for Garibaldi to, do his thing, and he probably was like, "Hey, might be the best speech I get to give on this entire show." What do you think, Dean? Jeff just took off. Dean, what do you think? What do you thought about? Oh, you still there? Okay.
Yes.
What about you guys? What do you think about his speech? I mean, I thought it was, pretty good. It seemed to fit his character.
I thought Garibaldi was very Garibaldi in this episode. He wouldn't back down. You got Sheridan saying, "Don't go there. That's what they want. They're gonna," and he was like, "No, I'm gonna bust heads. I'm gonna cause a scene." And he did cause a scene, albeit Zach managed to stop him, kind of calm him down a bit. But then when he was in there, I thought that when you say speech, are we talking about the bit where he's in the security headquarters and he's talking to his people,
throwing tables over?
Yeah, that was brilliant. He's trying to relate. He's talking to these people. He's saying, "Look, I helped you through your marriage. I helped you through your hard times."
Right.
He's talking about that connection he has with people, but the fear, the eyes dropping to the floor, looking anywhere but at Garibaldi. I thought that was a powerful scene. Yeah,
they're afraid of the Night Watch. They're afraid of what they're going to do, and the power. I mean, I thought. I mean, I put myself in Garibaldi's. If I put myself in Garibaldi's shoes, I would think, hey, the smarter thing would be to do what Zach did and come in there and just go, okay, I'm part of the Night Watch too. And then once you've consolidated yourself, then you arrest the other guy and say, oh, I saw him. Since you don't have any, you have to have any proof. You just take some guys, you arrest them, and say, I saw you doing some bad thing, and now you're under arrest, and I got rid of you.
Well, he even went so far as to saying, we now have the power and the authority and the responsibility. Babylon 5 belongs to the Night Watch. He is, to him, Zach is just a puppet.
Yeah.
And if you have that power trip thing going on in your head, and you've got all the connections, or at least you think you do. Again, he's probably just a useful idiot, but why would you want to put yourself at that? Let somebody else do that. You're pulling the real strings from behind the curtain, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that this guy is just a normal officer. He doesn't have any rank, as far as I can tell. At least it's lower than Zach. Zach is a sergeant, and Garibaldi is sort of the chief of security. So, but yet he's now in charge. So there's maybe, and he looks a little older. Maybe there's a little bit of some jealousy
resentment,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been passed over. Zach's younger than me, but he's still got the job. So yeah, I think he's completely in his. Yeah, he's happy to have this power, and maybe that makes it more difficult to see the trap that's coming. But also, he seems like a believer, big time. He believes that there are enemies out there, and that finally we're going to put a rest to the evil forces that are plaguing our government, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not. But,
well, he certainly is a firm believer in totalitarianism.
Mm-hmm. Well, but he is masking it in what Snob's saying is, it's like, oh yeah, we have these enemies, I mean, like I said, you could see it coming through that he's got this unhealthy glee about the whole thing, but everything he's saying is that he does believe, he's on the right side.
Yeah, he's a believer in this stuff that the EarthGov is feeding him about these these traitors in the government and all that stuff. Like it seems to me that he believes that stuff.
Yeah,
I
he
agree.
bought it hook, line, sinker. There's
He's-
definitely
He's on a righteous, he feels the righteous wrath of whatever, and he's in there and going to try to.
But he's also he's a believer, but he's also enchanted by the power that
Yes.
he
It's
got.
it's a
to
combination of
uplift.
both. He strongly believes in Earth. Dare I use the
Earth
word
first.
patriot, but I don't like that because this is more than just believing Earth is your home. He is so enamored with the fact that Earth is being attacked and his government is being undermined. He won't listen to reason. And then you couple that with the megalomaniac within him, the need for that power and loving that power. And you have a dangerous combination.
I mean, you can see it in his eyes. The actor does a great job at that.
Oh,
he's some cases he's a little over the top, but he definitely conveys that this character that he's portraying is,
he's after Sheridan's job. That's what he wants, and you can see it. Babylon 5 is ours now.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that he was over the top at all. I thought he played the thing excellently the entire time throughout these couple of episodes that he's been in. Very believable. Great job portraying that. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how much of him we see in the future. Personally, if I was Sheridan, I seem to recall an episode previously where they had mentioned that treason like that is punishable by spacing. I'm surprised you just didn't open the dock doors, but I guess there's that 27% rule where a lot of them are probably intimidated into being in that, and he probably realizes that.
Yeah. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did like that. When they were screening, the new Night Watch guy, that like the one guy is just like, nope. I'm glad they showed that some people. But most
I would have liked to see more. I would have liked to see more.
Everyone wishes it would be more, right? But this is the thing that we've a viewer got angry when I mentioned a certain person's name, so I won't do that. But everybody thinks, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the guy that stands up against this or whatever. But it's like, nah, it's much more likely that you're gonna just go along with it or just be powerless to do anything about it. So I think it was appropriate they showed only a few people standing against it.
One standing and maybe three or four actively sort of putting on the Night Watch. Because remember, when they're doing this, they're just bringing in the people who aren't part of Night Watch already. There's already a bunch of Night Watch people who are already in.
But a lot of them have been kind of uncomfortable too. We've seen that. Zach has been one of those on the fence. He's just
Zach's been the most uncomfortable that we've seen.
Some of the other ones have been a little uncomfortable, and some of them have been all gung ho. We gotta put down the people, the sedition.
I think as time's gone by, though, it basically funneled down to Zach because like the last big meeting they had, it was like Zach was the only one kind of meekly trying to hold out.
We're really gonna do this.
Right. And everyone else is like, yeah, let's go, but Jeff, you're right. Earlier on, like when they were first introducing it, there were more people that were kind of cool on it or just like, hey, I'm like Zach, I'm just getting an extra paycheck. Why not?
Yeah. When the people were coming in and they were doing that whole scene with them being given armbands, I don't think they were part of Night Watch. I think that was the security coming in because they were talking about subject to background checks.
Yeah, they weren't.
And stuff like that.
There was a couple of them. That
sorry, what I'm saying is there was Night Watch standing along the sides.
Oh,
absolutely. Already involved, and these were all the people they're bringing in who haven't been involved, and they're basically saying, "Hey, are you with us or against us?" And we see the one guy who's he leaves. Yeah. And then a couple of the other younger ones are like, yeah, I guess so. This is all hail the new king.
Yeah.
And, okay. Do we want, since we were talking a little bit about, do we want to discuss the Garibaldi and Jakar and his release and the Jakar subplot in here a little bit?
Yes, I
yeah.
think that would be
Jeff,
excellent. I was looking at
well,
that.
Jeff, you want to take it?
Sure. So, we see Garibaldi. Well, we open up the door to the cell that Jakar is in. Of course, we know that the martial law is probably headed our way at this point. And he's like, "Come on, unless you want to stay here for another 3 weeks or who knows how long, right? Especially considering the Night Watch would quickly sell Jakar out to the Centauri for whatever." And Jakar says, "No, yeah, well, I think I've had enough." Basically, uh, he's amassed quite a volume of documents that of his writings that we've seen him writing in the previous episodes. It's a pretty healthy stack too. It looks like he's almost written his own. Is there going to be a book of Jakar? It makes you wonder, right? But he did get out early, 3 weeks. He did tell Garibaldi that he might have something for him, and of course we later on learn what that is. He as was mentioned earlier, was it Talon? Was of course waiting out there, and he said he sensed an opportunity. And Jakar says, "Yes, we have an opportunity, a moment of transition that we can take advantage of." The opportunity was thrown around multiple times on both Wando and Jakar's side, and for that matter, Sheridan. Yeah, the word opportunity, I think, was kind of a key theme of this whole entire episode.
Yeah, and you know what? One point on that, I liked that Jakar. Clearly, he was, his plan was working with Sheridan and everything, but we saw him still maintaining his focus on what's best for the Narn. He was like, we have to sacrifice, be willing to sacrifice, I think he said millions, millions
Well,
to save us all. So that encounter he had with Kosh, he's still on that, and his focus remains to be what's best for Narn.
Really?
But he realizes that the path isn't necessarily a straight one, that he can't just be like, yeah, let's kill Centauri anymore. He's
right. I mean, he said he had a revelation, transformed his mind, his soul, his heart, and even the flesh. We need to sacrifice ourselves, our pride, our vengeance, which is totally a shift that we've seen now after post his encounter with Kosh. And it's definitely it's definitely something that is giving him pause to think. And of course we come to find out that he is firmly was it the Kauri? Is that what his title is? Even though officially that no longer exists,
right,
because of the Narn government having been dissolved, but he has earned the respect of the Narn on board Babylon 5, and I kind of think that he kind of hatched that plan. He's like, look, I've got guys here that can help you out. We just got to find a way to, and they actually kind of played that. And I'm glad we did not see the transition of Zach going, yeah, I've had enough with this stuff, man. It's kind of like, hey, we need to talk.
Okay, let me add. I'm sorry, Snob. Did you have a counterpoint?
Yeah, I want to go back. I don't agree. I don't agree with what you mentioned, Cam. That is that I don't think. I think Garibaldi. Sorry, Jakar he's no longer like he's seeing the bigger picture when he talks about the way I took it. When he talks about sacrificing all these Narn, and giving up on vengeance and that sort of thing, I think he's actually looking beyond his own people. And in order to save our people, he means life in the galaxy. I think he's looking at the shadows and the bigger picture stuff.
I might have said that poorly. I don't disagree with what you said there. I think what I'm saying is he's not forgetting what's best for the Narn in the long run also. But yes, he definitely has a bigger picture.
I think he's
view of
I don't
things.
think he's looking at what's best for the Narn anymore. I think he's looking at what's best for life.
Well,
For good versus evil, and that whole idea of willing to sacrifice our vengeance, sacrifice millions of Narn if is necessary. It seems to me like he's suggesting that he'd be okay with the Narn race being wiped out if it saved the galaxy and saved life. I think that's kind of the impression I got. He's looking beyond this.
I don't know
and
about
he's looking at all, like, we're all in this together. Narn, Centauri, humans, we're all fighting against this evil.
He does make the point that that he believes that the humans, I don't know if he says humans or Earthers, but are the key, and we need to turn that key.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I didn't write that down, but I do remember it because it made an impression on me. I'm like, yeah, and he's been trying and struggling. He's been trying. He tried his old tactics of being nosy and trying to get in that way. He's tried multiple tactics, but after his revelation, I guess you could call it, I think he finally sees, like, it's the greater good. I don't think it's something that he wants to sacrifice the entire Narn to save the universe. I think it's rather that I think it's more like, yes, there's going to be a sacrifice by millions of people from across the galaxy here,
And
humans and whatnot.
just to further my point is that, I mean, when he goes and he talks to the Narn, we don't hear the entire speech because obviously there's more to it that they want to keep secret until it comes out. But the fact that Sheridan later says that the Narn are doing a good job and that security is better and crime is down, it implies that the Narn are they're not. He's been able to convince them, all of them, to drop this whole idea of vengeance, and he's converted them to his way of thinking, almost, at least vast numbers of a majority of them, because none of them are taking it. Hey, I'm in charge now. I'm security. Let's take some vengeance against the Centauri. Let's bust a few heads. Or none of that's happening. They're all convinced that, hey, bygones, we have a higher purpose. They seem to have bought into whatever his higher purpose is, or his thought process, his new philosophy.
Well, and we even see one of those infamous elevator shots that they like to do, where the third wife of the former emperor, of course, Major Barrett, and only one of her guard, though. The other guard, I don't know what happened to the other. What happened to the other guard? Because she had two coming on at the beginning, right? But they get on the elevator. They of course, they're on the whatever it is, the tube or whatever. And of course, who's there is what was his name again? Tella. Yeah. So he's standing there, and she kind of looks over at him, and then looks back, kind of, and he kind of smiles.
She doesn't seem worried at all.
Did you notice he had his security badge on there?
Yeah,
also at that point.
Yeah. Well, so she doesn't seem worried at all. So I mean that kind of fits in with her character, that she's more mature, and
I don't know. She had kind of a grimace on her face with that. It was kind of like,
you thought so? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was the sigh of resignation. That's how it came across to me. It was that, oh dear, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me ask you guys about Zach, because he shows up in whose quarters was it? Was it Garibaldi's quarters?
No, it's his own quarters.
His own. Yeah.
Okay, they were waiting in his quarters. Okay, and they have the scene. Obviously you don't see what happens there, and then he goes and talks to I'll call him Vaughn. Night Watch Vaughn, and he's like, he spills the beans, and he does it kind of reticent at first or whatever. But then we have, it goes around to where they're springing their trap. Night Watch is springing their trap, or so they think. And Zach kind of says, like, yeah, it's like he's like, oh, if we finally take care of these guys or whatever. And Zach's kind of like, yeah, like going along with it. to me, that telegraphed the scene. That Zach really hadn't turned on them. How did you guys take that?
That he hadn't turned on them?
Yes.
I thought.
Sheridan.
See, now I got the I got the impression that they had convinced him finally that look, and maybe Garibaldi's speech helped kind of with that.
Well, that's my question. Did you think Zach had turned on the good guys, or did you think no? Yeah, he's going against Nightwatch for sure.
I wasn't sure at that point.
Okay.
But I could tell he was struggling with it because he's been struggling with it since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he just showed up to that first meeting because Talia was there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and to get the extra
and the extra 50 credits, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, when we saw Zach going in there at that point, I was kind of like, I'm thoroughly expecting them to close the bulkhead doors, and Zach's gonna.
Okay, so you weren't full. I mean, they didn't. Again, Zach's. That's my point. Is Zach's behavior is like, oh, come on, this isn't him. He's not like gung ho suddenly. So I think they telegraphed it a little bit, but it wasn't. If they hadn't telegraphed, if it was like over a longer period of time where Zach was kind of working undercover and the audience never saw, it's like we saw a transformation in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Then it would have been more of a shock. But it just wasn't. I don't think it's what he was going for.
It would have been very interesting,
yeah,
to see him working undercover, feeding information from the Night Watch to Sheridan and Garibaldi.
Yeah, you could have had that end of it, but I what I was thinking was that when he had his blow up with Garibaldi, is that Straczynski could have used that to credibly portray Zach as being like, well, screw it. Yeah, I am against you. It's like you're not doing it. You're not trusting me. You're giving me a reason not to trust you. Yeah, these Night Watch guys are right. And that, he's playing that to the audience, even if in reality, it turns out that he was working with the command staff. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is this was a very short duration.
It was a quick turnaround. I mean, there was a lot of quick turnarounds. Night Watch suddenly going into. I get it because of the Civil War. Yeah, Night Watch, the civilian authority, such that it is, claiming that they've got now jurisdiction over the station and
right.
get to do whatever. That I thought that was clever. I kind of expected him to,
Well, let's talk a little deeper about that in the how they figured it out. First, I'm sorry. Just before I forget, I do want to give Jeff Conway really, I think has done a great job with this character, kind of portraying, this guy that's kind of caught between the two things. And, he's just a blue collar guy, who's doing his job.
To do the right thing.
Yeah, he does.
And he's not sure what the right thing is.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And so, unfortunately he's passed away as well. So we can't really compliment him, but he deserves praise for that work.
But we can still get Keffer.
I'm gonna, disagree in a sense that I think Zach was always on the good guy side. He was being pulled either way, but even the big blow up with Garibaldi. I mean, I think, and I agree that Zach, Conway played the character well. I mean, just because he's mad at Garibaldi that Garibaldi will not, bring him in and won't trust him. I mean, he's got a legitimate gripe there, and he should, he brought it up, and I think that was well done. But that doesn't mean that all these other guys, that the Nazis are now right. You know what I mean? Like, just because he has this problem with Garibaldi, having him switch over to the other side, like, no, he knows they're still wrong. I want you to trust me. I don't know why you're not trusting me. We're buddies. Just because some other guy betrayed you before, I'm not that guy. You should trust me. But that doesn't mean that these guys over here are right now. So that's part of that I found it very believable that he's stuck in the middle. And I mean, it was
I think
obvious
he's
to
hurt.
me that
He's hurt because he wasn't
yeah,
brought
he's
into the
hurt.
confidence.
But again, that doesn't mean that now, the evil guys are now good. So he's hurt and he wishes Garibaldi would trust him. And he's honestly saying, hey, I'd rather have you in here. We can work this. I don't think he ever is on the Night Watch side. I felt when Sheridan was the point that I didn't really think that Zach would go over, but the point where I knew the fix was in and Sheridan, the trap was set, was when Sheridan is sitting in his room with this determined look on his face and his alarm clock goes off and says it's 2:30, time to get up like you're supposed to. He's just sitting there the whole time. He was obviously waiting, and that look on his face, that made me say, hey, Sheridan knows what's up, and they have, they've done something obviously with Zach, and they're gonna set it up. And I think I think you're right. You guys are right when you talk about Zach. He's like, he was kind of like, oh, now we're gonna get him. He's like, yeah, sure. I mean, he was a little bit, he wasn't as enthusiastic as you want to be. But then again, he hasn't been that enthusiastic. And if he was overly enthusiastic, yeah, we're finally like I would have if I was the the Night Watch guy, I would have been a little suspicious. Like you've been dragging your feet the whole time. Now you're all gung ho and stuff. Okay,
well, I don't know.
Something might be a little wrong. So I thought that was played properly.
I think the Night Watch guy, he didn't ever really show. It was like he felt like he had to prompt Zach, but I don't think that he ever suspected Zach wasn't really with them, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like he seemed to be too up in his own head, maybe to doubt Zach.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I mean, it's a combination. He's we talked about him already. He's blinded by the power, and he's got this righteous, so that blinds him to what's going on. But also he's you're right. He's not like Zach is questioning everything though, eh? Like I think he should have been he should be suspicious every time he says something. Well, we got to do this. Zach's like, really? We're gonna do that? Like everyone else is all gung ho. Yeah, let's go. And Zach's the only one who's going, wait a second,
I think Zach maybe thought at first that he could keep Night Watch on the right side. But clearly that's been progressively getting more and more impossible, and they've been putting the pressure on Zach to give up more and more information, about, you turn in this shopkeeper, or turn in that, that officer or whatever, that type of stuff. And every time they've turned the heat up a little bit on Zach, he's been getting a little more and more uncomfortable. And this was kind of the final breaking point. And I think he was already convinced prior to this operation that he was,
The episode, the point of no return, I think it applies to so many things. And with Zach, it's that he's either with Night Watch or he's against. And when we don't see what happens in the meeting, but we see him come to security guard number 1, Vaughn, and he's like, yeah, they're bringing in Nans. They're going to take control of security. I can no longer sit in the middle. I've got to take a side. And the only side I can see is your side. So I've come to you with this information. So I think it was a very convincing act.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that point of I can no longer remain in the middle. We've reached that point. There's no returning from here. I've got to pick a side. And so I think he played that role really well. He convinced, Vaughn to go along with it. Vaughn senses an opportunity. We got it. We've got the evidence we need to hold Sheridan to account. This is sedition. We can now remove him from command, and I will have control of Babylon 5. Yeah. And that blinded him to the possibility that Zach was pulling his leg.
I think that's good points. I agree with all that. I think that Zach always wanted to be convinced to the good guy's side. He was just caught in the middle, and the fact that Jakar, Ivanova, Garibaldi, all of them being in his in his quarters waiting for him, and they just said, hey, it's time to pick a side or whatever they said. I mean, that pressure is enough to to make him go, Because before it's just Garibaldi saying, but like Garibaldi's not even telling him pick a side. He's like more saying, you don't believe in this Night Watch stuff. And Zach's always like, no, not really, but it's extra pay. And,
it's a good point because clearly they told him, right at that point, they put their cards on the table. And his conflict with Garibaldi was that he felt Garibaldi didn't trust him. And at this point, they put their trust in him because he could have gone either way. He could have said, nope, boop, get on the link. They're whatever. And turned him in.
Let me ask Cam, are you suggesting that they told him about the entire conspiracy, or they just
no, I don't think they gave him the whole thing and told him about, Minbari's souls or anything like that. But I think that they, clearly Jakar being there and everything and all of them, it's like, this stuff's going on. We're opposing this, to that extent.
Wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. We're taking an action. We want you to help us.
Yeah. He also
level of trust is enough. Yeah.
He also witnessed, what was happening with Earth being put under martial law, the Senate being dissolved by somebody, but yet they were investigating. They were investigating the Clark, but yet the Clark turns around and declares martial law and dissolves the Senate because he has that authority. Really?
Yeah.
But he only has that authority because he had guns.
Right.
That the Senate was removed through force. And I think this is the great part of this episode, which is no matter how civilized we think we are, there is one rule. Whoever's got the biggest force, the strength, will win.
Sure.
And,
we live under a very comfortable illusion, right?
Everything's an illusion.
And it's held up for a while, but no guarantee that's going to be. And that's why I love this episode. So again, this came out 30 years ago. So people, it's it's about today. No, it's not about today, and it's not even about 30 years ago. It's about a universal truth.
History doesn't necessarily rhyme, but it does tend to run in circles.
And that's why this show is great, right? I mean, it's and we now have the experience of going through 30 additional years and being able to draw parallels along that time here or there. Maybe
today to years ago, a decade ago, or 3 decades, or 80 years ago, whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But my point that I was trying to make though is that Zach is seeing this. He's seeing what he's hearing these reports, and he's seeing, oh my God, what's going on? Why are these, this and that? And then he sees it, and first he's only seeing this information, these reports coming from Earth, and then he sees it happening right in front of his own eyes on the Zocalo.
Yeah.
Where suddenly there, most people were peacefully just minding their own business. Yeah, they were cheering, and blah, blah, blah. But then Night Watch has to come up and try and break up. They're inciting a riot, except the only reason the riot wound up starting is because the Night Watch.
Yeah.
Right. And he's seeing this, and oh my God, what is going on? What have we done? And I think that was probably the point at which he was probably had made up his decision. He just needed that final push at when he showed up, because when he showed up to his apartment, he's obviously exhausted for the day, and he's like, and he goes in there, and then suddenly Sheridan, they're all waiting in his quarters, and then Sheridan walks up and he says, "You need to get in now."
Yeah.
I don't think he needed a push. He needed a way out, and they gave him a way out.
Maybe that's it. They gave him the lifeline he's been desperately seeking.
Yeah, that's true. Because up until that point, they didn't trust him. And we saw with Ivanova and Corwin too. It's like they didn't feel like they could trust anybody really. For good reason, maybe.
No, Zach is begging for them to bring him in and give him a way out of this. Throughout the last bunch of episodes, he's always like, Garibaldi, you don't trust me anymore. What's going on? I know there's no 7R. What's up? And
but
he's also begging them to trust him.
He took on that Night Watch mantle though, and he never gave it up. So I can understand they're not trusting him too, because you
Well,
know.
yeah, just not being willing. Yeah.
Okay, do you guys want to talk about kind of the trick here, the whole thing with General Smits and
Yeah.
the chain of command,
Yeah.
thing.
Snob
not-
really he detailed it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, maybe he's sending signals. I didn't quite, Snob was like, oh yeah, I clearly saw this, and I'm like,
No. That's not what that's not. I don't think that's
no,
what
but you
I-
implied that,
when
that he's sending
when
signals, and I'm like,
when I saw this initially, I did think General Smith is talking. He's talking a little weird. Like these are senior officers, and he's talking about you got to bury your opinion and respect the chain of command. Like these are basic things that you're not supposed to tell a captain. A captain's like he's like a colonel. He's one step below general.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to be told that. So it was a little bit suspicious. Now it could still go on. General Smith could be talking for, he's reinforcing these things because he knows people are listening on his end and he's trying to look loyal.
sure.
So he could be saying these things for that reason. But, we find out, of course, later on, there's another reason he's sending signals to Sheridan by the way he's talking. And, I mean, I think the big thing is, this is an opportunity. If you're on the bad guy side, you're saying, oh, it's an opportunity for Sheridan to do the right thing and become one of the bad guys. But, he's
Chain of
also,
command. Okay.
Yeah. So, chain of command. You don't need to tell colonels the chain of command. Like you shouldn't have to. So I was I didn't figure it out. I'm not saying I figured it out right off the bat, but it was it tweaked me a little bit and said, it's kind of strange how he's talking to him. So, which is good because they were able to, give me a hint that something is unusual, but not, expose it so much that I knew what was happening right off the bat. So
yeah.
great on the way the writing and the way it was portrayed. Or maybe I'm just stupid and I didn't catch up to it. But
I thought
either
it
way.
maybe could have been done a little better, but that was, that to me was a weak part. I felt, it just, it was like, are they trying to do signal? I don't know. I couldn't tell at first, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's when Sheridan is, doing the rewind and playback,
Oh,
and then,
God.
and I'm like, okay, I'm surprised they didn't look for a coded message there and zoom in and do like Garibaldi did that.
Yeah, we have a thing whenever a show does that. And I don't know whether this isn't to be derogatory or anything, but in the UK, we always turn around and look at each other and go, that's for the American audience, where they repeat a point and keep repeating a point. And it's not, it's a very, very big generalization. But I guess when they do that, yeah, I know I've probably upset a load of people, but it's geared towards they're trying to labor the point, and I think sometimes it's a bit misused, and that's the one thing I think lets down this episode slightly is the rewinding and the constantly playing that to try and drive the point, just in case someone missed it, which is the chain of command.
Yeah, it's like the lowest common denominator they're trying.
It is. However, with the brilliant writing we've seen in this series, this isn't the first time chain of commands come up. It has come up time and time again, and it's been this point that has kind of flowed through. You think about it. If they had their way, as in Clark's people, Sheridan would have had a political officer alongside him.
Right.
And the whole chain of command thing would have got very, very blurred because the political officer would have been saying, well, these are orders.
They're your orders. They're not my orders.
Yeah.
Oh, she would have been a big thorn in his side. She would have super complicated this whole episode, like unbelievably.
We dodged a round on that one, I think.
Yeah,
he was lucky to get rid of her when he did. Otherwise, the only thing to do would be to take her and like put her in a jail cell and just lock her in her room or something.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's some sort of safeguard that if she does check in every so often, that
And I agree with Madman. I think the whole delivery was really well done. And I think the way the general was talking about it, my opinion has nothing to do with this. Respect of the chain of command. The order has come from the political office issued by the security office. So being as clear as he can be without saying these are illegal orders. because he's having to keep his position. He's being monitored. There's a reason this came from the political office, because we already know the military is in disarray right now. So Clark's busy, so he couldn't issue the order himself. There's going to be several ranks down, which are trying to get all these pieces put together really fast. So they're issuing orders left, right, and center, and the majority will go through without anybody questioning. But it was a mistake that side made that gave Sheridan the ability to be able to use that kind of loophole to get rid of Night Watch. And I think that's the brilliance of this episode. I think that's really well done.
Well, he bought some time. Ultimately, we can be almost assured that time is going to be fleeting at some point, and they're going to have to do something to bolster.
They said at the end of the episode.
Yeah, the command will be issued by Clark himself, so they know this isn't done, not by a long shot.
Yeah, at which point they are going to have to cross that hard red line.
Yeah,
and decide, are they going to follow it, or are they going to join General Haig's side? Well, which we already know what side they're on, but but they're going to have to. It's going to have to be official. They're going to have to go, I'm declaring, boom.
Yeah,
this is an independent, blah blah blah. I think I can foresee that coming.
Yeah.
Well, they've done a good job of removing possible threats to them on Babylon 5. They've got all the Night Watch under control, and they've identified who's loyal to freedom and righteousness versus authoritarianism. So
I think it might be they've got the Narns there helping with security. It might be just as advisable to maybe bring in some independent Minbari, or even some objectionist Centauri. I could see that. Just so that it's this is a multi-racial, multi-species, whatever you want to call it, type of security force. It's not just a bunch of humans telling aliens what to do. It's a bunch of yes, this is a human man-ran station, but we have people from all representations here. Maybe a couple of Drazi, as long as they're not fighting about what color.
Yeah.
They're all you're all purple and green at the same time, okay?
All right, what's next? Let's take a little break.
Yeah. You said we were gonna. You forgot to do the trivia, and you say you were gonna do a commercial break.
Let's do the trivia. Trivia from last week. We'll just do the trivia from last week. We'll do the regular one at the end. Okay, so last week's questions, messages from Earth. Who does Dr. Kirkish work for? Yell them out in the chat if you want. Where is the second shadow ship found? Who is Zach pressured to look into? Why do Minbari not sleep horizontal? And what Earth vessel comes to investigate the White Star? And a bonus, what does SUAEI stand for? All right, this and more will be revealed right now.
Shut up and eat it.
Yep.
Interplanetary Expeditions, that's who Kirkish worked for that found the thing. Ganymede is where the second shadow ship is found. First one's on Mars, second one they just find on Ganymede. Garibaldi is who Zach is pressured to look into. Minbari don't sleep horizontal because it's tempting death, and it's the Agamemnon that comes to investigate the White Star. And of course, said shut up and eat it. Yeah. Shut up and eat it. All right. Cam, what are we talking about next?
Well, I just
coming near the end.
An interesting little bit was when they kind of, they locked them up obviously in there, and then were letting them out. And I thought it was nice that they showed a few security people, that were with them. It was a handful of them, maybe 6 or something.
Yeah.
And then of course, then the Narn came in to back them up. I thought that was good at showing how how overwhelmed they really were. It's basically, they didn't give us an exact number, but I'm guessing it was something 80% or more of the security force was co-opted.
The majority of the security went with.
And then as a result of, again, I like that it, the whole point about them being like, it's like, there was a little smug satisfaction, like, we got them. We pulled one over on them when they thought they were going to pull one over on us. But then it was like, but it doesn't matter because we know what's coming next, and again, it's that sinking feeling, that this episode did so well, ending on that same note,
Yeah, it always ends with a win, but no boom today.
You want to talk about that a little
boom
bit
tomorrow?
More? I thought I was kind of surprised. I mean, not surprised, but we had a pretty positive episode in that the good guys win, but at the end, just to keep the pressure on, Ivanov and Sheridan talk, and they say Haig is losing. Like he's lost all of his other ships. It's just himself. He's on the run. And then Sheridan says, that they're going to be coming for us next. Like it's an inevitability. And she doesn't argue with him. She says, I never thought it would end like this. Like, that's the end. They're doomed almost.
Well, by taking out Night Watch, they've clearly said to Clark and his allies which side they're on. And there's only one way that Clark can get control back of Babylon 5, and that's they've got to seize control. Yeah. And reissuing, they could reissue the command, in which case Sheridan's in a very difficult position. Does he follow the chain of command, or does he declare that order illegal as well?
Well, or he has to, because he's already done. He's already done.
I think
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Like if you were a believer, you wouldn't go against Night Watch. I mean, he might be able to, sort of finagle it and say, oh, it was illegal, but he knew that the order it didn't officially come from the president, but it came from, people like he knows Clark. Like, it didn't officially come from him, but it came from him. These were all set up. So, he would have a hard time justifying that at his court martial, saying, oh, I didn't know, or, maybe you might get away with something that, the president was puppeted and it was the people around him that were, pulling the street. Maybe you could try to fly. I mean, it wouldn't fly, but you're right. He's pretty much declared.
I don't know what the next episode is going to hold, because this is it's left on such a cliffhanger. And, if I was in Clark's shoes, can you have a loose cannon like Babylon 5 existing? I mean, that's quite an iconic space station. And it's a massive piece of military hardware as well. So I'm excited for the next episode. I really am. I do wonder what Clark's going to do.
Severed dreams.
Yes.
Well, the only thing is, can you have? I mean, the only thing that would, I think, stop, Babylon 5 needs to be controlled by the government. If you're Clark, as soon as possible. You can't have this, you're right, giant spaceship just basically thumbing its nose at you. But the question is, can you get enough ships together? Can you spare them? Can you get them, how fast can you get them over there to solve this problem versus, what other various problems are going on, which, we might not know about. So I think that's the limit factor to when Earth comes for Babylon 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, I think Earthdom's got bigger things going on for them to deal with, with this whole takeover of dictatorial takeover of the planet, and then of course they're going to have to deal with Mars and Io and some of the other colonies before they even get to Babylon 5. But I think it's clearly coming, and it may come in the next episode for all I know. I did spot something interesting on the disc when I was looking. I was, because they've got 4 episodes per disc, right? And to the left or right of the episode, there's a little plus sign where you can watch like the trailer for the episode, and every now and again there'll be these little marks, and the next episode has those little marks, which means there's commentary. So it's going to be a three-time watching episode. So I'll probably have about 12 pages of notes.
I think that yeah, like the thing is we don't know enough of what's going on how well Clark is doing. Like he might still be dealing with the Senate, and you're right about Mars and Io. We don't know how they're going to react.
Right.
So we don't know how long it'll be, but the longer, the more trouble that those various elements make for Clark, the longer it'll be for him to get over to Babylon 5. Because I would think that, you can't leave Babylon 5, but he probably needs to deal with the Senate and Earth, and obviously the Russians, because the Russians don't agree, because they're selling
to the Russians.
They're saying, hey, we're not put your bodies in front. So there's already obviously problems on Earth that they're gonna have to sort out first, take care of their own backyard. But yeah, it'd be interesting.
So looking forward to the next one too, man. We're definitely the heat is on now at this point. We're cranked it up to high now. So
Cam, have you covered everything that you wanted to?
Yeah, I had that's everything I had.
Okay, I have a question then. Did you notice that when Sheridan and after he gives his martial law declaration, I think Franklin comes in and he says something about how he misses Delenn. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was before Franklin came in or after, but he does say, "I missed."
I think I wish Delenn was here or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Any comments about that?
The question is, what is she doing?
Oh, I looked this up. All I got back was Minbari business. So she was recalled back for Minbari business, or she was dealing with something on their
Minbar.
Yeah. I couldn't find anything more.
I think it's more interesting is his reaction. I wish she was here. Like, does he wish because he wants her advice, or is there something else that he wants? Advice plus something else.
What else would it be?
She does return at the end, doesn't? And they make a point of that actually, that she's returned at the very end. So yeah.
We don't see her though, do we?
No, we don't.
Yeah, she
nobody
doesn't
has
hear
any
it all in
comment.
the episode, but she,
Yeah.
All right. One other question, and I think it's probably the most important one of the episode. Did you notice that Ivanova has her hair down? What is going on with her hair down? Like, that's supposed to be this is like a tense moment. She should have it up in
be tight, right?
Yeah, severe ponytail or something. And now she's got all relaxed and down. What's up? They're sending mixed signals.
She was up very early that morning, though.
That must
maybe they're trying to. Maybe she's keeping her hair down for.
She didn't have time to put it in a scrunchie. Is that what you're saying there, Dean?
She's just trying to look good for Marcus, which of course was not in this episode.
He wasn't.
Yeah, this would be. You'd think he'd be all into the whole,
So he must be away on business too. So maybe he's on Minbar or something.
Maybe there's a Ranger convention on Minbar. So
there's
a
Ranger
con
going on
was happening.
The Fellowship of the Rangers.
Yes.
They got to meet every once in a while. Yeah. All right. Okay. I guess. I joke. That's a little bit of humor there, but that's pretty much. I think we covered everything that I thought of. We've discussed the ending. I don't think we don't want to go any more into Londo's three. I think we need just to wait and see when those things come up. I'll be watching for them. I'm just it's pretty kind of interesting, but that's all the main things I had. Do we want to go to we want to go and look at next week's trivia questions, and then we'll go to our final thoughts on the episode, or does anybody have any points that we missed that you want to bring up?
No, I mean, we could do speculation on the things, but I don't think we really save the eye. What is meant by save the eye? The eye that does not see. Maybe it's the eye that isn't that what that item is called that he.
The eye that Morgan got from right at the start. Yeah.
Save the eye that does not. That could be it.
Yeah.
You must not kill the one who is already dead.
I think, like most prophecies, when it happens, you'll suddenly
You'll understand it.
Ah,
Yeah, you got to remember that these guys know and we don't, so it's kind of
Yeah.
they're not going to
Yeah.
say anything,
Well,
right?
well,
They
this is
can't.
more directed at you, I guess, Snob, because
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
go on, George.
save the eye that does not see. That could mean that eye, but
I
kill the one that is not already dead. I don't know.
It could be Jakar.
Jakar's not dead.
But
Dead in the
the
sense
Jakar that, in a metaphorical sense, the Jakar that
the
Londo,
original Jakar is dead.
yeah, because he's been reborn, he's been remade. He even talks about that in the episode where he's been remade. So the old Jakar that Londo was locked in eternal
conflict
with is gone. This is a new one.
Don't kill Jakar because the original Jakar is already dead and he's a new guy and you need him. Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that could be. Now, what about surrender? Now, this one here, I think might be surrender yourself to the greatest fear, knowing it will destroy you. I mean, could be the most interesting one because we kind of know what's Londo's greatest fear. I mean, this kind of implies that he's gonna, if he doesn't do one of the other two before, he's gonna have to sacrifice himself, perhaps die, in order to.
And I have the feeling it's going to go to the third one. I don't think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna make it. I don't think he's gonna stop in the first or second. I think he's gonna be oblivious to them and then realize it afterwards.
Yeah, but what's Londo's greatest fear? Not being relevant.
I thought we weren't going to go into this.
Okay, well, Jeff forced me to do it.
Right. You're welcome, Cam.
Okay, well, listen. Here's what we'll do. We just put these questions out there, and the audience who hasn't seen the show like us,
put it in the comments.
Think about them and ruminate, and maybe put their ideas in the comments, or just keep it in mind for the next episodes that come by over the next, year until the end of season 5.
The next year, huh?
Well, it's about a year before we finish. We're about halfway through. But anyway, people can think about that. All right, so good. When we're going to talk about it, okay. All right, so final thoughts. Dean, as our guest.
All right, final thoughts. I thought this was a fantastic episode, and we have seen probably 20 odd episodes of all of this building up since season 2. The Night Watch being put in, things happening, the evidence against Clark. The start of season 2 was all about the conspiracy of light, and it feels that everything, all the routes and options we saw heading into this episode are being shut off one by one. It's a sudden power grab by Clark to take control fast, which he has to, because he's about to be ousted. If he doesn't take control now, he will never have control. So you got this desperate action happening at Earth. You got martial law. Everything is coming to a head. You feel at the end of this episode, things are not going to be the same. You're reaching a point where they either capitulate and give in, or they fight and resist. It's a point of no return. And I think the episode lives up to its name. For me, it is one of the best episodes. I don't think it is the best episode, but it's definitely one of the best, and it gets a 9.5 from me. It's a fantastic episode. And when I first watched it, I was on the edge of my seat. I was, you were taken on one hell of a roller coaster, and it really does begin to lead into the next episode where we're going to watch, which is things are not the same on Babylon 5. And what's the new order going to be? What's going to come out of this? Because everything's closing in on Sheridan right now.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
This was a great episode. I mean, the last episode wasn't bad. The one before that was not great. so it's a night and day difference when you get something that's good. And I think they teased us quite a bit with Jakar, and we're looking forward to seeing it. I'm eager to find out if Garibaldi has finally read the damn book of Jaquan. Come on, man. It's been, how long has he had it now?
Only 3 weeks.
No. Jakar got out 3 weeks early. 3 weeks early. What was his original sentence, right?
8 weeks, so 5 weeks.
Yeah. So he's had over a month with it. Come on, he should have read it by now, and he has been reading it. We had learned that in the previous episode. So I'm also eager to find out the writings that Jakar himself has done. As I said, the Book of Jakar. Which it might become. Who knows? In future history. But I overall, it was great. Like I said, I kind of thought, the message from the general, I might have been delivered maybe a little too subtle for me. I was like, are they trying to send a message? Is he not? I don't know. It was kind of iffy, wishy-washy. And as Dean pointed out, the rewind and play. It's like, okay, dude, we got the point. I get it. But that's that, and maybe a little bit of over the top from the leader of the the Night Watch guys, but overall, no, you could see the visualization of who they're trying to portray him in the image of. It's quite clear, almost too much. But overall, I like the trap for the trap. They set a trap for the people that thinking that they're gonna trap. Glad to see that our boy Zach has finally made a choice for the right thing, and they leave us hanging, man, because we need to know where this is going, because we know that it's only a matter of time before Clark goes, you guys have to do this now. This is in my official order as commander-in-chief, through the chain of command, yada, yada, yada. And he's going to have to, Sheridan's clearly going to have to make a choice. So I'm going to say, I'll give this a 9. Yeah, a 9. It was a very, very good episode. I still think we could be better, but not much. There's just a hair, a little bit of room left. So I'll go with a 9 and stick with that. So
Cam.
Well, as I had mentioned, this episode is maybe the key episode in terms of the theme of the entire show for me. This is the episode that really encapsulates things. So I would be hard pressed to give it less than a 9.5, which is what I'll go with, reserving. I think I gave something a 10 in before, but I'm waiting on next week for a 10.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm eager to see what next week flies.
But yeah, this is, just a pivotal episode in many ways. It's kind of, in many ways, it's kind of a quiet episode in terms of, galaxy shaking events. It's rather local, with Earth being the focus. But again, thematically, it's just, it's a 10 for me. It just does such a great job. The performances are great. The writing's good, great. Can't say enough about it. Really loved it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give a 9 as well. I don't really have anything to nitpick on the episode. Like Cam said, good performances. I like them all. Everything. The writing was good. I just I'm hoping that we will see something, a pushback, maybe on a little bit of the Night Watch, like when. I don't know. I'm afraid that we're not going to see the Night Watch again. That's it. They're done. but I'm hoping that we'll see them in a couple episodes, maybe when Clark gives the order and says, hey, I said the Night Watch is in charge. Maybe there'll be some pushback, a little bit of back and forth that Sheridan would win, but I don't know. If I do see that will kind of raise this episode up in my mind a little. I kind of, I'm not big on this sort of these pat sort of like, oh, we defeated the Night Watch and then they're gone and everything's good to go. We shall never talk about that again. So hopefully the writing is good, that we will see something from them, a little bit, a little bit of pushback or something. But we'll have to, I'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, good overall. Like I said, no complaints. 9, that's pretty high for me. Leaving a little bit open because I don't know what else might happen. So I got to leave a little bit of.
But like I said, I think the episode that I gave the highest previously was the one with the commentary. So I kind of suspect that JMS picked those episodes to put commentaries on specifically. I think they were deliberately made for, he chose.
They probably picked the most boring episodes to talk about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes,
that's what they usually do.
That one that we gave, what did we give, 1 of 5? I think. Yeah.
Did you guys notice
nitpicking? What do you mean? I'm not a nitpicker. Jeez.
I was gonna say, did you guys notice that the excerpt of Peter's interview you mentioned there? He named the episode specifically. Remember?
Yes, he did.
The one.
Yeah.
So I think it probably stands out for him as well.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we were watching. We made
which is coming up, I believe, in your, because he knew where we were.
We specifically mentioned her, and she's a big name, so he probably would have remembered what episode that they were on. Now he does mention that he doesn't really watch the episodes he films.
Well, that's why I mentioned that, because he did remember that one in particular.
Yeah. All right, good. Okay, so let's do trivia questions real quick.
Oh yeah,
and then we'll finish off fire off the end of the show. Okay, so trivia questions. This is last week's, but this week's trivia questions. Who is Lady Morella? And not like it's Majel Barrett, who's the actress. What is she within the show? Her character, is she a bartender? Is she you guys get the idea. Who meets Jakar when he's released from prison? I think we kind of talked about that one. Who's not present when Zach arrives in his quarters? This is a little bit of a tricky one. Remember, who's not present when in his quarters? So
there's a lot of people I could think of.
Yeah, but there's one person. Okay, but there's one key person. I don't mean Abraham Lincoln wasn't there or whatever. What does Lady Morella see in the telepathic flash? I think we mentioned that. And how many total chances does Londo have to redeem himself? How many total chances? That's the complete total. He's used up a certain amount of those, and he's got a certain amount left. So what's the total overall? Yeah, these and more questions will be answered next week.
Math is hard.
Yeah, math is hard. Yes, do your best. Okay, so Dean, what's coming up on your show?
Well, we started our live streams on a Tuesday, and thank you for those. I noticed you're in the chat as well, Snob, and I think Jeff, were you in the chat? Yes. So thank you so much for your support.
I got to make my trolling.
When I can. You're usually streaming in the middle of my workday, so
yes. So we got our next one where we're talking stealth skills that can be used during downtime and item creation. So they're going well. Looking forward to it.
And this is for your upcoming game.
Yeah,
or just in general.
Untold Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, so we should just say that Dean has been designing a game for some time. Yeah. It's called Untold Destiny, and you're just having these streams and you're talking about the various mechanics that are in the game, etc. Right? So if you're interested in the game and what mechanics you're putting in, and I noticed in the chat there was a big discussion, some of the people in there about this mechanic or that mechanic, and what detailed questions as to why you're using it or something like that.
Absolutely, it's a great opportunity. Yeah, for we engage with the chat, we answer all the questions, so it's a great opportunity if you're interested in very character driven, campaign focused role playing. It's perfect. Pop along, have a look at what we're doing. Ask your questions.
All right, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. See, well, we've got Bad News Bards coming up this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. That is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m. Am I right,
Yep.
Dean?
2 a.m.
2 a.m. Who are we? We have a special guest, don't we, Cam? What's that guy's name?
Oh, wait, it's Dean.
It is
Yes.
And Vicky.
Dean.
And Vicky.
And we're going to have his lovely bride on with us, and they are going to be talking about Untold Destiny.
Yes, we are.
So it's going to be awesome.
We're both really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hopefully, we won't give you too hard of a time. Well, we can.
Not at all.
But
No, I'm looking forward to getting up to speed. I'm a little behind on everything, but
Yeah.
I really want to dig into it.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. And we'll find out more about when release dates and stuff like that. What targets we're gonna ask you about some of that stuff. So, also on Mondays, I am running a Shadow Dart game now. We had our first session this past Monday, so that was kind of exciting. That is exclusively on the Tennessee Tabletop Tavern channel. Bad News Bards, we air on Sci-Fi from ETV as well as Tennessee Tabletop Tavern. So, but the money stream, it's a live play. I don't want to hurt Jason's algorithm. So you know how live plays go sometimes. But been having a lot of fun with that. We'll be having Lord Mateus, Better with Bacon, Erudite DM, and Vance and Dan Tesh, who's from a lot of the YouTuber streams. He's so we got a couple of people picked up to play. Some of them are YouTubers, some of them are not, but they're all going to be on a stream with us, and it'll be streamed on a few channels.
All right. And other affiliates of the channel and of our channels, don't forget Outpost Nerd. He's got Nerd at Night, and he's working on his channels down there, and he's working on a couple of, mostly puts out videos, recorded videos and that sort of thing, discussing various nerd-related topics. So if you're interested, go check him out. And as well, Q2 Cast, Madman, has his show he does. You can see up there. He's got his the cafe show he does Tuesdays at 3, and that show is presently a discussion about Star Trek Starfleet Academy, about each episode, and I'm usually on that show. Venting my thoughts of this horrible show. He has a new show coming that he's working on. You can see there in the middle, and that is anime related. And he's still working on it. I'm not going to speculate too much on it. He's doing stuff he hasn't told me, but you'll be hearing more about that. And of course, Madman with the Show, he's got his daily videos out about various topics related to some of censorship, anime stuff related things. I think he released 2 videos today. They came out. I think it was 2. He's got stuff coming out all the time. So check that out if you so desire. And of course, this show, what's going on this show? We have 2 shows. This Babylon 5 show, of course, which we thank you all for coming. And then we have the Top Lofty Lounge, which is every Sunday where we talk about science fiction related things. Cam, what are we doing on that show this Saturday? Do you remember?
Movie night.
Movie night. And basically, I'm closing the movie out. Outland has won.
Zardov.
No, Outland. So we're going to be watching Outland. So watch Outland. I mean, they're both Sean Connery movies. I think Outland is what, the sheriff? He's a sheriff.
Yep.
I don't want to watch that one. I'll watch Zardov instead.
Well, tough luck. The audience have spoken, and we do what the audience wants.
Quick note: that is available on YouTube. I saw it the other day. So if not your normal link, you could find it on YouTube. So no excuses for not having seen it.
And when I put up the show, I will I'll put some links in there so you can watch it and discuss it with us next Sunday. We'll spend the whole time talking about that. And of course, now there's if you watch our show regularly, you'll know that Cam has a tool segment that he
Tool
does
time.
on occasion. Last week we had an extra long segment where Cam was talking about his is that your personal tool kit that you call? Is it you call it your personal toolkit? Is that right?
I usually don't title it, but yes, it's my.
Okay.
No,
Anyway,
it's same as Bob.
Okay, wow, jeez. So it fits in his backpack sort of thing. It's those of you who don't know, Cam has a number of various toolkits. He's got his one on his person at all times. I won't tell you where he keeps that one. And then this one he talked about, which was in his backpack. And then he's got one that for his car, and one for at home, and one for the mother-in-law's house, and then the camping one, and then there's the one for the various emergency kits for hurricane, and then the one for earthquakes, zombie
and a blizzard.
apocalypse,
He's got the one
alien
for the blizzard.
attacks, snowpocalypse.
We get the
various
idea.
things. Yeah. So not all of those. Some of those
Tidal wave.
toolkits
You got a tidal
I might
wave
have
one?
tidal wave. Yeah, I might have made up some of the ones that I just talked about there, but maybe not. Anyway, he's going to be going through. Not every week, but sometime in the future, he's going to be talking about his, one of his other kits, and going over it. And so yeah, if you like tool stuff, we like tool stuff on the, it's not science fiction, but we do what we want. The man can't keep me down. So we're doing. So yeah, he's going to be talking about more in depth that at some time in the future. So yeah, I just thought we tease that a little bit. And maybe more people will be interested. So yeah, all right. Did I miss anything? I think I got everything.
Yeah. Oh, that stream is on at 8 p.m. The one on Mondays. If anybody's wants to see how bad of a DM I am.
All right.
I'm sure you're not that bad, Jeff.
Well,
Sure
you can go check it out. It was my first time running a game in nearly 6 years. So a little bit rusty, but not too bad. Also, was trying to learn Roll20, and I may just go back to Foundry because Foundry's so much better. Oh, no bias there. But,
all right.
Anyway, check us out.
Okay, yeah, check it out. So that's it for the show. Thanks for coming. It says we have 21 people watching. We were at about 12 most of the show, and now it suddenly jumped up near the end. So I'm not sure if that's weird YouTube things or what's going on. Yeah. But anyway, come out and as you're on your way out, subscribe, all that good stuff. It gives us a little bit of hand with the algorithm and gets us out there for more people. So we appreciate it if you can do that. Thanks.
More torture from Madman there on Tuesdays.
Thanks, everybody. We shall see you next week for a even more exciting Severed Dreams on the show.
Looking forward.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good evening. Ambassador Rolando Molari here from Babylon 5. Please join me on the Babylon 5 retrospective on Science Fiction Snob, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Central. Yes? Have I ever told you you're very cute for a Mambare?